Wealthing Like Rabbits, an original and occasionally hilarious introduction to the world of personal finance by Robert R. Brown. Chapter 1 Choices. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. Dr. Emmett Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd, in Back to the Future Part 3. Lisa woke up tired. Not the usual just woke up tired, but the kind of tired that sets in when sleep doesn't come until about an hour before the alarm clock goes off. Worried about going back to sleep, Lisa willed herself to sit up and put her feet firmly on the floor before she reached over to turn off the alarm. A nurse at the local hospital, Lisa didn't want to be late for work. At 57 years of age, with 11 years left on her mortgage, virtually no savings, and a stack of bills on the kitchen counter, she most certainly couldn't afford to be late for work. Lisa sat on the edge of her bed with her hands on her knees and looked at the digital red 5:16 on the clock beside her. Summoning the strength to stand up, she headed into the ensuite bathroom, squinting against the sudden brightness as she flicked on the lights. After her eyes adjusted, she lifted her head and looked at herself in the mirror. Lisa felt as old as she looked, and she looked 10 years older than she was. The big bathroom was cold, almost cavernous. Lisa leaned on the marble double sink vanity that she had been so pleased about when they had bought the house and tried to remember the last time either she or her husband John had actually used the second sink. Now it was just another thing to clean. She shivered as she turned on the shower and waited for the hot water to find its way up 2.5 stories and across the house from the hot water tank in the basement below. While she waited, Lisa looked out the icy window and saw nothing but pre-dawn Canada in early February. Cold, dark, and, oh joy, more snow, another 10 inches of the stuff. Mechanically going about her morning routine, Lisa thought back to the cause of her sleepless night. She and John had had another discussion about their financial situation the night before. Unfortunately, Lisa knew it wouldn't be the last such discussion. Same story, same characters, same plot, slightly different details. They had bills to pay, lots of them, and most of them were large, overdue, and growing. Among them an insurance bill, a cable internet smartphone bill, as well as a notice from the natural gas company. For some reason, they seemed a tad upset they hadn't received a payment in nearly 6 months. Lisa and John had also received a polite but firm letter from their daughter's university, stating that if her tuition wasn't paid immediately, her academic transcript would be withheld. To say that Robin would be upset would be an understatement, though Lisa knew she wouldn't be surprised. There were bills from a magazine subscription, from their landscaping service, and an unpaid parking ticket. The lease on John's truck was coming up, and it was over the allowable kilometers. Lisa had to get an emissions test done for her Infiniti, an appropriate name considering how long she had been paying for it, before she could get a new sticker for her license plate. Her driver's license was also up for renewal, and all of this had to be done before her birthday, only 2 weeks away. "It's my birthday present, from the province of Ontario," Lisa had said to John in a futile attempt to keep the conversation light. His equally futile response had simply been, "Merry Christmas," as he pointed at the pile of credit card bills. Attempts at humor had quickly deteriorated into attempts to win. Reason was replaced by blame, then by anger, and in the end by silence. It had not been a fun evening for either of them. Looking into a different kind of mirror, Lisa knew she owned some of the responsibility for that. 35 minutes and 2 shots of Visine later, Lisa emerged from the bathroom warmer, but was still tired and stressed. She knew from previous experience that the weight of their financial situation and the tension caused by the last night's argument would be with her all day long. Thankfully, she could smell fresh coffee brewing in the kitchen downstairs. Lisa had given John a new stainless steel coffee machine for Christmas, a programmable beast of a machine that ground fresh beans for every pot. She remembered laughing about it on Christmas morning. John had wondered aloud if the gift was really his or more for her. On this morning, it was definitely more for her. Lisa walked along the upstairs hallway, past Robin's bedroom, past the kids' bathroom, and then past her son Christopher's room, where John had slept, also poorly, last night. Both of the kids were away at university. She went by the spare bedroom, which was currently being used as their spare office. At the end of the hall, a fifth bedroom was laughingly called the exercise room because somewhere inside it, behind a bunch of crap, there was an exercise bike that was both brand new and 8 years old. As she started down the curved stairway, Lisa passed two of her favorite family pictures on the wall. The first was one was of a professional photograph of Lisa and John taken on their wedding day. What a wonderful day it had been! Everything had been so special, so perfect. Each of their 250 guests had agreed that Lisa looked absolutely stunning in her $5,000 designer dress. The country club had been decorated with fresh white roses, a chocolate fountain, and a beautiful heart shaped ice sculpture. Everything had been perfect. The exquisite five-course meal, the live band, and of course the 2 week honeymoon in Hawaii. You only get married once, as they say. Reflecting on her current situation, Lisa wasn't so sure about that anymore. The second picture was a family photo that had been taken during a 10-day vacation in Walt Disney World when the kids were younger. They had flown direct from Toronto to Orlando, rented a van upon their arrival, and stayed at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa near the Magic Kingdom. They bought a 7-day park hopper plus pass and ate at a different restaurant every night. They had even taken a day trip to the Gulf Coast so the kids could go swimming in the ocean. 12 years later, Robin and Chris still talked about that trip. But then, a month or so after the trip, the credit card bills started to come in. How on earth did they manage to spend $12,000 on a vacation? There was no way they were going to be able to pay that off. So they went to their bank and opened a home equity line of credit with easy monthly payments. 12 years later, Lisa and John still talked about that line of credit. They were still paying it too. Lisa headed towards the kitchen to get her coffee fix. Upon entering the kitchen, she stopped abruptly and dropped an F bomb worthy of Samuel L. Jackson. The fancy new coffee machine was somehow clogged up and chunky. Hot coffee was running everywhere, all over the granite countertop, down the face of the custom cherry cabinets, and onto the new hardwood floor. The unpaid bills that had been the subject of so much discussion from the night before were now saturated with coffee, including, ironically, the credit card bill with the coffee machine on it. Lisa pulled some dishcloths out of a nearby drawer and started placing them strategically in the pool of wasted caffeine. She unplugged the machine and put it in a sink, where it was likely to be waiting for her when she got home. Now, tired, stressed, upset, and in desperate need of coffee, Lisa went to the front door and put on her new winter coat. She had no idea where her gloves were, and she didn't have time to search for them amongst all the stuff in the jam packed closet. Bracing herself, she opened the front door and stepped outside into the bitter cold morning. She trudged through the deep snow. Lisa realized she wasn't just going to be tired today, she's going to be tired for the rest of her life. That's a bit of a downer. Let's try it again, shall we? Lisa wasn't sure if it was the smell of the fresh coffee that woke her up or if she'd awoken on her own and the smell of fresh coffee was already waiting for her. Not that it mattered. She smiled, pulled the covers up a little bit more, and tucked them under her chin. 5 more minutes and she'd get up. The coffee would still be hot. 35 minutes later, Lisa woke up again and looked around at the alarm clock beside her. 7:45. She swung her feet out from under the covers, stood up, and did some light stretching before meandering off to the bathroom. Lisa was a nurse and worked part-time, providing extended care to patients in their homes. Sure, she made less money now than she did working full-time at the hospital, but she truly enjoyed getting to know her patients, and after 20 plus years of shift work, she had been ready for some of the comforts that came with working part-time. Comforts like having 4 days off every week and sleeping in until 7:45 if she wanted to. Lisa looked at herself in the mirror. Not bad for 57, she thought, despite the severe case of bedhead reflecting back at her. The bathroom was small enough to be described as cozy, but it was more than adequate for her and John. She grabbed a thick housecoat from the closet and strolled over to the bedroom window. The morning sun was just coming up over a blanket of fresh snow. Lisa could see her husband John in the driveway, brushing the snow off her Chevy Cruze. An appropriate name, considering they were going to cruise to Key West to celebrate her birthday in a couple of weeks before he went off to work.